Hello everyone, my name is Shayla Kennel and I am responding to our Module 5 assignment, our professional development presentation, Understanding Students with ADHD. So first of all, to get started with the presentation before I go into the questions or Module 5, I just wanted to kind of go over and describe what ADHD is. So ADHD is, the acronym stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It is a brain disorder marked by an ongoing pattern of inattention and or hyperactivity, impulsivity that interferes with the functioning or development. So what I did was I kind of broke down 3 words in the definition just in case someone may not have understood those definitions or the words. So I highlighted inattention, I highlighted hyperactivity, and then I highlighted impulsivity and defined them at the bottom here. So I'm going to read them exactly how they are. Inattention means a person wanders off task, they lack persistent, they have difficulty sustaining focus, and is disorganized. These problems are not due to defiance or lack of comprehension. That's what inattention means. So they're always off focus, they can't really stay focused. Hyperactivity means a person seems to move about constantly, including in situations in which it is not appropriate, or excessively fidgets, taps, or talks. In adults, it may be extreme restlessness or wearing others out with constant activity. So hyperactivity is not being able to sit down for long periods of time. Often younger children, they will jump around, walk around. They can't stay seated for long periods of times without moving around. Impulsivity means a person makes hasty actions that occur in the moment without first thinking about them, and that may have high potential for harm or a desire for immediate rewards or inability to delay gratification. An impulsive person may be socially intrusive and excessively interrupt others or make important decisions without considering the long-term consequences. Okay, so we're going to move on to our questions now. Question number 1 of Module 5. How many students with ADHD are currently being served in the U.S.? So according to CDC and surveys, about 11% of children 4 through 17 are currently being served for ADHD in the U.S. So this number was last measured in 2011 and can vary depending on the year and the community sample taken in research surveys. Our second slide here. How have the numbers of students identified increased in recent years, and what are the reasons for the increase? So between the years of 2003 and 2011, 2 million more students were diagnosed with ADHD. So I believe in 2003, it was from 2003, and then I think it went up to 2007, and then 2011. It all showed percentages. I think 2007 it was at 9.5%, and then 2011 it went to 11%. So the reasons for the increase in ADHD would be due to you have overdiagnosis, which happens all the time. So, students or children can get overdiagnosed with ADHD. That's very common. You have poor sleep habits. You have lack of structure, you have too much indoor play, and you have video game usage. So those are all very good reasons that ADHD would increase in children, adults. I have a friend that I went to high school with. He has ADHD, and he had a very hard time paying attention to lessons that we were doing. He had to constantly be up and active and moving. I thought that was very interesting to share with this PowerPoint in this module because we are talking about ADHD and he does have it. Question number 3, What are the specific behaviors, characteristics of students with ADHD? And the other question, in what ways do those characteristics make it difficult for students to learn and participate in school? So according to the website, the acronym is NASIT. Some characteristics include children can fidget, they can squirm a lot, inability to be still, they're interrupting others. So if the teacher's talking and the student finds that it's okay to interrupt and it's not okay, but it's basically a symptom of ADHD. And then running around or climbing constantly so they can't be still, again. And then the inability to stay focused, that is a big one. Often children with ADHD cannot sit down for long periods of time and stay focused. So they have to sit in special groups that is going to capture their attention because they cannot focus. And then lastly, having a hard time following through instructions. That is also a part of staying focused. They have a hard time following instructions. They have a hard time staying focused, again, because they're constantly need to be up, moving around. Okay, 4. Do all students with ADHD demonstrate the same characteristics or degree of behavior? And explain. So no, not all students with ADHD demonstrate the same characteristics or degree of behavior. Why? Here's why. So according to that same website for question number 3, NASIT, there are different kinds of ADHD, and each child has a different degree of behavior. So here I have listed and I highlighted so you could clearly see the 3 different ADHDs that children could have. We have inattentive ADHD. So this is where the student is distracted easily and they have a hard time paying attention. So that is one. Our second ADHD is hyperactive impulsive ADHD, which are those words that I defined on the very first slide when I talked about what ADHD is. So this is where the student is very active and acts quickly. So the student can't sit down. They have a hard time being still. And that first one with inattentive ADHD, the student has a hard time focusing. They have a hard time following instructions. So those are great examples of those 2, inattentive ADHD and hyperactive impulsive ADHD. And then lastly, we have combined ADHD. So that is a combination of both inattentive ADHD and hyperactive impulsive ADHD. So if you combine those, that means the child has a hard time focusing, being still, so a little bit of everything on the 2 that I talked about here. Number 5, according to IDA 2004, under what category are students with ADHD identified? So according to IDA 2004, students with ADHD are identified either under other health impairments or specific learning disabilities. So mostly you will probably see other health impairments, but I listed both just so, if you ever hear those, that's what it's listed under, according to IDA 2004. Question number 6. Here's the part where we get to discuss effective class-wide interventions for students, especially with those who display characteristics of ADHD. Okay, so here I have listed effective academic interventions. So basically in a classroom, you should give a smaller number of instructions at a time, have a written copy of the instructions and a visual copy of the project to help serve as a reminder. For any written work, you need to break it down into smaller sections and allow breaks for the students. So as you're breaking it down into smaller work, you need to give those students a break. As we did mention, like in a larger class group setting, it is harder for those students to be still and focus. And for organization, you need to have the student use a planner that is checked regularly. Now, color coding helps with this as well. So a calendar with due dates as well as a checklist to help students keep up with the assignments. That will be key. For a student with ADHD, they don't have any organization, so they're very disorganized because they have a hard time focusing and being still at that as well. All right, so now I'm going to talk about some effective classroom strategies and interventions. So you should avoid large group instruction, pair students in small groups, and encourage partner work and reading. Provide visual reminders of protocol, provide timers to remind students to stay on task because they do have a hard time focusing, which is key too. Timers are going to help them. And then provide choices for activities when possible as a reward. You should utilize learning games and praise students for their positive work. That is also going to help as well. And our last slide is just our works cited here. These are all of the websites that I use to research my information here. And to end with that, I thought this module was very interesting because like I said, I do have that friend that has ADHD, and he deals with a lot of that, not being able to focus and not be able to be still. And then I actually do have someone in my class that I am currently taking as well with ADHD, so I thought this module was very interesting, and I'm really glad that we had the chance to go off and research for this module. Well guys, that is it for Module 5, my presentation on ADHD, and I hope everyone has learned a lot from my PowerPoint, and I hope everyone has a great semester. Thank you.